Hello YouTube, it's Ro here. Thank you for visiting You Grow Ro. If this is your first time, I hope you'll consider subscribing at the end of this video. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you. Today I'm going to run you through how I made my own personal homemade wet seasoning. About a year or so ago, I watched a video on TT's Urban Pantry YouTube channel called How to Make a Wet All-Purpose Seasoning. It all started with a jerk seasoning comparison she did on some chicken. And in that video, she determined that she preferred the all-purpose seasoning sent to her by a friend over the jerk seasoning. So fast forward to now, I just remembered that I saw that video and I wanted to give it a try. Because TT had said she used up all of her all-purpose wet seasoning that was sent to her, and she decided she could make her own. She found a video on YouTube that she watched that gave her some inspiration, and then she came up with her own recipe. Now, in her recipe, she used lots of garlic, red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, habanero peppers, red onion, white onion, Anaheim peppers, jalapeno peppers, Hungarian wax peppers, ginger, parsley, scallion, olive oil, mustard seeds, oregano, basil, cumin, allspice, turmeric, anise seeds, coriander, smoked paprika, ground black pepper, chicken bouillon, and thyme. That's 25 ingredients, y'all. 25. Now, I've tried jerk chicken before, but I've never made jerk chicken before. But the way she made it look seemed super flavorful to me and very customizable. So I did a little research of my own to see if I wanted to try making it myself. And my first question was, does jerk seasoning usually have that many ingredients in it? And the answer to that is it depends on who's making it. It can also range from mild to incredibly spicy, but in general, it should be savory with a warming flavor. Okay, then I asked myself, how is a wet all-purpose seasoning different from a dry rub other than the obvious? Turns out, wet rubs are nearly the same as a dry rub. However, there's a wet component added, as the name implies. But what surprised me was that the wet component could be vinegar, alcohol, as in beer or bourbon. It could be juice, oil, and even mustard could be used. So far in the blender, you saw me put in some lemon spice jalapenos. I had some orange spice jalapenos and some green bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, red bell pepper. I have some garlic in there as well. And I'm just blending it all up to make some space for myself, number one, because if I'm going to be using this many ingredients, I'm going to need to have some more space on my counter. So this is only the beginning. So now next you'll see me adding in some more fresh ingredients, including tomato, onion, some more garlic, some herbs, and whatever else I could find out in the garden and in the refrigerator. But back to what I was saying before, 25 ingredients, that was a lot to work with. So I started thinking about all the things that I have readily available to me in my pantry and in my garden that I could use in my own version of an all-purpose wet seasoning. And I wrote that list down, which was pretty exhaustive, and then I pulled ingredients from that list that I wanted to include. To begin, I started with ingredients that would add nutrition to the wet seasoning. So it should be no surprise that I'm adding nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is rich in B vitamins, which nourish our nervous systems, which is very important in the crazy world we live in today. Plus, if you've never had it before, it has a sort of nutty, cheesy flavor. It's really tasty. Then the next obvious addition to me was the liquid aminos that I have, which is a natural soy sauce alternative made from soy protein. It's naturally gluten-free and it has a savory, salty flavor. much like soy sauce. It does not contain any chemical preservatives, but what it does have is essential and non-essential amino acids, which play critical roles in our bodies. Namely, they're the compounds that combine to form proteins and are commonly referred to as the building blocks of life. And they're used by all living things. However, if you have kidney disease or high blood pressure or cancer, you may need to avoid or even limit your consumption of liquid aminos, because while it is lower in sodium content than soy sauce is, liquid aminos still contains a fairly significant amount of sodium. So from there, I went with garlic, because not only is garlic a flavor powerhouse, but it's good for you. And you've heard it all a million times. Garlic boosts your immune system. Garlic is antibiotic. Garlic lowers your cholesterol. Garlic lowers blood pressure, among other things. And then next I moved on to ingredients that I chose for their flavor. Sitting in that category are parsley, onion, sweet peppers, thyme, oregano, sage, and ground black pepper. Like TT, I ended up using a whole crap ton of ingredients. And so I'll be including everything that I used for what I made at the end of the video and in the description box. But this is totally customizable, like I said in the beginning. If you plan on making this, just choose flavors and use things that you like, that your family enjoys. It's my understanding that a traditional jerk seasoning, which this is not, this is an all-purpose, a wet all-purpose seasoning, has Scotch bonnets in it. I don't have any of those, and I don't think I would put them in anyways. Even if I did, I think they might be too hot for us. However, I did pull some fresh jalapenos from the garden and some red mushroom peppers from the garden. The variety of jalapenos that I'm growing are lemon spice, orange spice, and then your regular run-of-the-mill jalapenos. The orange spice and the lemon spice jalapenos were totally ripe. However, the regular jalapenos were not. They were still in the green stage, but I used them anyways. So here I'm just cleaning the leaves off of the stems of those fresh herbs you saw me just get. I didn't record myself getting some oregano, but I got that as well. And in front of me is that parsley that I harvested right in front of you guys. You could leave the stems in if you wanted to. I did not. I have a habit of saving my stems and then using them to make herb salts that I then give away as gifts. So I don't ever keep the stems on my herbs. Well, rarely ever, I should say. So then I'm taking all of those fresh herbs and I'm adding them to my Ninja blender along with the rest of the ingredients that I had in there. So I'm adding my thyme, my sage, my chives, and my parsley. And I'm just throwing them all in there. I didn't chop them up or anything. I just removed the leaves from the stems. They're going right into the blender. Next, I pulled out some dry ingredients, including my homemade chicken bouillon, my homemade chili powder, my homemade paprika, my homemade mushroom powder, and some seasoned salt and some black pepper. And what else did we have there? Bunch of stuff. The final ingredient I added was olive oil, but I forgot to record that part. And so here what you see is my final product. I'm just about to pour it down into some bottles and let the flavors meld over the day and see what we think of it.
Spicy?
Isn't your chicken supposed to be spicy?
Yeah, let me see. Let me get in there. Ooh, smells good.
Not spicy enough?
No, it's cuminy.
No cumin.
What are the spice am I tasting?
It's a
It's
lot
got a
of,
nice kick after it.
like this was all I used.
Sage, there you go. A little sagey.
A little too sagey.
I think so.
I have to look up.
But that may
cut the sage.
that may fade while I have it. It's good. It's real good.
Let's give it a couple days and see how it changes.
I didn't taste the sage that much that time. See, I'm not a huge sage fan. But no, it's got good heat, like not too much heat. And it
like,
hits
you
afterwards, which I like. Good job.
Yay, thank you. All right, that does it for today's video. I hope you were inspired, and I hope you'll come back and watch more. I'll talk to you guys later in another video. Thanks, and bye-bye.